So hi, Zoran. Is this pronounced perfectly?
Yes, Zoran, yes.
Zoran, very good. So, what was your first computer?
ZX Spectrum,
Wow, which one?
48K,
Oh, I was
the
better.
rainbow one.
I had the 128. It was already the Amstrad, so one after you.
Oh, yes. But this one was the revolution. This 48 was the evolution.
Yeah, true. And
I still-
your Spectrum was with the rubber keys, right?
Yes, with rubber keys, yeah. And one of my biggest achievement was when I figured out how to press this green button symbol shift and how to execute commands that were on those rubber keys.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I remember is they were like shortcuts. So I think if you pressed R, was like run, and you can run the basic program, right?
Yes.
And there was load and save and stuff like that. So this was briefing, right? Whether it is true that it was actually your first computer. So why I'm telling you this? Okay.
Yeah. And later I moved to Commodore 64.
Yeah, but what was your first action with the ZX Spectrum? So you turn it on and you start playing, start programming. So what's the deal with that?
Well, first was of course playing games. It was the the brick game.
Ah, yeah, Arkanoid,
and,
I think was the name, right?
Yeah, there was Arkanoid, but even with the tape you got with the computer, you got several games, and one of them was the brick game. I think it was called Wall. I think.
Okay.
And I actually get programming book Basic.
Okay.
With Basic, and that's how I started after a while to start learning Basic, and it was really amazing to be able to change colors on TV and play some melody.
Yeah, but how long was the while? So how long took you to start programming?
I don't know. It was not quite long. I think within the first year I started, because I got some very, very good book. A colleague who came, my father who came to set me up the Spectrum, gave me a programming book, and that's how I started to learn programming, to realize that there are other things that you can do with Spectrum. And one of the reasons for the motivation for that was because sometimes it was very difficult to load games from a tape. You usually get this loading error, That was one of the main problems. And then I wanted to start. It was a bit frustrating for me, and then I wanted to learn how to do other things.
Okay. So the motivation was you wanted to improve your game loading experience, right?
Yes. Yes.
And was it possible to improve it? I mean, have you achieved that or not?
Well, not. Of course not, because it was up to the tape recorder. But I was wondering, would it be possible to make games? How to make?
Ah, okay. And is it possible?
Well, I got another programming book from a kind of bookstore nearby that included actual source code of the games that you needed to type, but unfortunately there were some typing errors in the book, and usually those program could not work, and you spend like a few hours retyping code from the book into the computer, and after that you run it and it just got stuck, some of this. And that's when I started to learn how to save typed code on the tape and to load it again. So that was the next big milestone.
Okay.
And I even managed to type these programs and load them, but as I said, it was a bit of disappointment that were only character-based games. For example, car was A, B, C, D, 4 letters. So it was a bit disappointing for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't give up.
And for me, I also typed a lot of stuff, but it never worked. There were like typos or whatever, so it was like mission impossible to understand what's going on. So I can't remember whether I was successful once by typing something from the magazine. So I did it, But if you have no idea what you are doing, there is no zero chance, or I would say 1% chance to success, right? So zero, you always can be lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like coding monkey, I I couldn't understand, what's going on. I just coded, and I was happy that I used the computer, but it never worked. So
that's the way we start, right?
yeah, still fascinated. And what you did then? Your first program, maybe, if was that, if there was if or for loop or whatever. What you did? Was it something special, or was your first action, typing the game, and then you knew already everything like if, fors, and so forth?
Yes, actually, I said that I had this programming book, Program Introduction Basic for Beginners.
Oh, okay.
And
then you just try things out. Example. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually explained pretty well those basics.
Oh, very good. So what is your first program then? Your very first program?
So my excluding those games that didn't work, my first program was actually a program to calculate parameters of the transformer, of the electric transformer.
Wow.
When you want, I was like also interested in electronics.
Oh.
And I realized that one of those side projects was to how to create this transformer and how to calculate how much of these parameters you need. And there were a bunch of formula, and it was like, but it was mostly basic formulas. So I realized that I could write a program to do that.
Yeah, I was laughing because it's also my hobby with the electronics, but this was even worse. So I spent hours, soldering, but it never worked. It was too hot or whatever. Whatever I did, it never worked. The only thing which I achieved to do, I was very fascinated, by the LEDs back then, the diodes,
Yeah.
So I had a couple of them, and I liked them a lot. And this is what I achieved, to make him, light. But this was not like a huge achievement. And the next thing what I wanted to have was the photodiode, that it could react to the light. So this was the but whatever I did, because I think my my solder was not that great. It was too big and too hot, and it never worked. I spent I think I had like it was like a small sets. I started I think I created like 5 or 6 and it never worked. So it was. Everything was disappointing, but it was lots of fun, So, yeah.
Yes. I was lucky to have like a cousin of mine.
Yeah, you are crazy. You're always lucky, You're some guy with computer books. The other cousin is okay, cool.
Yeah, and he was helping. Actually, it really worked. But he was helping me, and I gave him, and it was like, come on, make this work, and he always managed to make it.
Okay, so you were in similar situation like me. So it also didn't work in your case, but your cousin refactored the. Okay, yeah, okay. He was the unit test.
Yes. Yeah, yes. And I remember at that time I was looking at this catalog from Conrad Electronics.
Okay.
They have so many those kits, to put together, and I was just looking at it and imagining which one we are going to order next to put together pieces. This PCB board and all.
And what you created first was such a board. So what was your first project, electronic project?
Well, actually, it was with LEDs.
Okay, sure.
To change to 2 LEDs, multi-vibrator, changing light.
Quite sophisticated. Okay, my LEDs got too hot, because I always, forgot, the the resistor between, So if you don't do it, they get hot like crazy. So I like actually. So, but I needed a lot of them, right? So interesting. So the transformator formula is not that complicated. It's like equation, right? So you can have more power or more voltage. So this is what the formula properly did, right?
Yes. It's not
but nice. It's useful. If you are
formulas.
But if you're interested in electronics,
how many wires you can?
Yeah. If you're interested in electronics, nice. Okay, cool. So and then you didn't like when was it, by the way? Because ZX Spectrum, and you mentioned Conrad Electronics and C64. Which year was it roughly?
The first computer was 1987.
Okay.
1987. That's when I got Spectrum.
There was Conrad already around? Maybe.
I probably later, probably a few releases later. I didn't get into the computers in electronics at the same time. First it was computers, and then later I got into electronics also.
Nice.
And I cannot remember at which year it was C64.
No, but roughly, because it's interesting.
Roughly, I think it was 1989 or something like that.
Okay. 1990.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So then, you got the C64, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was it was better. Yeah, I saw it has this module for Simon's Basic, extension module, and I think that was at the local computer fair, and I saw what C64 with this Simon's Basic can do. How it was pretty advanced for music and graphics. And I need to have this. It was really fascinating.
So you stopped to play fairly, early, and then you just your mind was already,
No. I continued to play. And I also saw joysticks for C64. It had better equipment. And
what was the great brand of the joystick? There was one brand which was great for the joysticks. I destroyed them a lot because of the Winter Olympics games, or you have moved very fast. Yeah. You remember the brand?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have to look it up because there were nice joysticks. I forgot the brand. There was a specific joystick with nice feeling, and yeah.
No, I don't remember exact name, but I remember that the first game was Outrun. When you're driving car.
Okay.
That's one I really played a lot on C64.
Okay, so you still enjoyed playing, but you also wanted to program, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What was your first interesting program on C64?
I don't remember that actually.
Then the second. Then tell me about the second.
I don't remember. Yeah. I know that I wrote some, and I was mostly learning this Simon's Basic. I had lots of fun with doing it, but I don't remember creating anything useful, anything from beginning to end. It was most like having fun with the graphics and music.
Okay. And then you started programming in one point of time, I guess, because right now you are able to develop software.
Yes.
So I would say, when was it your first, piece of software you wrote?
Well, actually, the real piece of software when I started at university, when I started learning programming.
And how many machines you have, computers between the C64 and university? You kept, using the C64, and then you got something else, or?
I got 286. I got PC.
Okay, and I thought Amiga. I was pretty sure you got Amiga 500, but this was why I'm asking. No.
Yeah, I was thinking about Amiga, and even at that point of time, Atari ST.
Yeah, exactly. The nice one.
1040. It was 1000. That was that I was planning to do. And then suddenly came opportunity to buy PC. Suddenly PC became a thing, and it was a new year, and there were very cheap PCs to order from Singapore.
Oh, Singapore, interesting.
Yeah. And that's how I got my first PC. Yeah.
Okay, and you start playing. I think this was the same trajectory, right?
Yes. I definitely start playing. And that time I was really fascinated. It was the first time I saw disc, so no cassette player anymore, And the big advancement with the C64 is that it had its own cassette player, and you had a special program that you can tune this head that it's reading. So
what I remember right now? I had to use the screwdriver
Yes,
to adjust the head. Otherwise, it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you had two lines on the screen,
Yeah.
and if the lines were scattered too much, like then it won't read well. And that was the main problem with Spectrum, because you didn't have this program to tune the head of the cassette player. But with there was a little hole actually on the cassette player for C64 that you can use to tune it. And suddenly there was a PC and there was a hard disk, and you didn't have to wait. You're right. Everything was right away. So it was a huge technological jump for me.
We could sell our screwdrivers, right? Back then. Okay, nice. So but then you started, at the university with serious programming, right?
Yes.
But you already knew that computer science is the right thing to do. So you always enjoyed computers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yes. So, which programming language you learned at the university?
The first one. Actually, I started programming. Now, when you ask me, I started remembering it. The first language I learned at the university was Pascal. That is the first one. But before that, with PC, I started learning C. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, it was very early, and I was far from the pointers and all those stuff. Direct manipulating memory, but I know a little bit like a basic syntax in C, So I think it was even in my 8th grade.
Why you did it? I mean, you wanted to implement something specific. Why C? Because C is so hard. So I assume you wanted to do something low level or what?
Actually, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. Why did I pick C? Probably reading, local computer magazine, and I figured out that the C is the way to go, because I don't know why. Because I was interested in low level stuff, in the hardware also.
Yeah, maybe and, the hardware relation. Maybe there was in some journal, hardware, and there's always C around. Okay, this explains that.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your opinion about Pascal? I assume Turbo Pascal, right?
Yes. Borland Turbo.
Yeah, exactly.
Pascal. It was 5.5.0. It was
this is what I don't remember, because I also started with Pascal, but I have no idea. I got this on disc, on floppy disk, I remember, but no idea which version. And you enjoyed Turbo Pascal?
Yes. Yeah, it was really, really readable, and you can do. And that's when I started learning. At that point, I was pretty much self-taught, reading the books. But now I attended the actual lectures, and people started explaining, professors explaining what's in there and how to work with files and stuff like that, many other things. And suddenly I started to understanding pointers, and these more advanced topics. And the final project for that subject was that I tried is to create a application for like a medical registry. My mother is a doctor, and she was the domain expert explaining me how to enter patient, how to search and stuff like that. So
very good. So this is how you started, to implementing your own DSL. Yeah, for hospitals, right?
Yeah. No. It was far from this DSL. It was like a text application with textual menu and stuff like that.
And how you stored the stuff with Turbo Pascal? Just writing on disk, or you use database? You remember that?
Just writing on disk.
And searching was interesting, right?
Yes. I don't remember what options had. You had just one textual menu in the middle of the screen, and you say enter patient, find patient, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but still, sophisticated, right? So you had to deal with files. Yes. I mean, there's everything included, I would say.
That's the moment when I made really big progress. Everything before that was just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But when you create one application from the beginning to the end, which somebody is actually going to use it. Well, nobody used it, but for this project, I imagined I was talking to my mom and asking what features does she need and stuff like that. So it was like a real world use case.
Yeah. And
That's
agile.
when I made it.
And agile, you know.
Agile.
Very this is a MDM, mom-driven development, you know, MDD.
MDD, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And okay, so what happened then? So Turbo Pascal was the first, then C, then Turbo Pascal, and what was the next language?
Well, the next language was also a bit more, also at the university, a bit more of C.
Okay.
So we had this computer architecture subject, and we did C. And C++. Yes, C++.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that the next was Java.
Okay. And how you got to Java? You had to learn that, or you found that, or?
Yeah, actually, I started building websites. You know, started with them, and then but those was very early beginning. You know, there was no only static pages, HTML pages.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly there was, the way you can put animation beside animated GIFs was to create these Java applets. Suddenly the Java applets were out, and then I started learning Java with Java applets.
Oh, then it was JDK 1.0 or 1.1, I guess.
Yes. It was just the new thing. Yeah.
But this was outside the university, right? This was in your leisure, more or less.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. And you enjoyed Java, or what was your relation to Java back then? You saw that, and what were your thoughts about Java?
Well, I was very excited that you can do something more than this static page in browser. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the whole applet thing was interesting. You can react to mouse events and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. It was very clear. Then it was very clean language, and even after when I started, I think very very quickly. My university adopted Java as a language to teach. So I think, it was a set of lucky circumstances for me to get into that direction.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So then you could immediately jump in and
Yes, actually, I was doing some projects in Java that were part of the. Part of my university courses. So that's how I started going more and learning more and more about Java.
Oh, nice. So were there any interesting side projects or Java related projects during your university time, or was just, the curriculum, what you had to do?
Well yes, we had this opportunity to do some elective on subjects. So actually, I was creating like a chatbot. I started creating a chatbot in Java. So
with RMI, I guess remote method invocation back then, right?
No, it was just it was a bit later after the applet age.
Okay, then separate.
But it was not online. It was just on a desk computer, but was able to communicate. These programs like chatbots like Elisa, and Frank, this psychiatrist, that are basically simple natural language processing, like a simulating understanding. Those are like a chatbots at that time. Well, I wrote something like that I had some other algorithms how to do it.
And understood. So it's not a chat, rather like a process which reacts to text input and output, right? So
yes. Oh. Natural language processing, yes.
Oh, this is crazy. I mean, how you knew this? How to do this?
Well, actually, at the university we had this subject about compilers, and we were learning Lex and Yak, and studying formal grammars for computer languages. And while looking at that, I got the idea how can that some principles can be also applied to natural language. And I saw a few of those similar programs. And yes, I'm going to do my own thing now.
Okay, so it's almost DSL, right? So, if you will,
almost DSL, DSL,
or even, yeah.
but more like pattern matching, kind of flexible pattern matching.
Okay, and it was fun. Did it work as expected, or?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I had the big plans for it at that time, but
Yeah.
there were no internet here in Serbia was not so much many users, and there were no mobile phones and no social networks. So actually nobody was interested in that time in applying something like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was lots of fun for me for building it. Yeah, I tried to convince some, local stores. Yeah, you see, so you have computer program that can answer the questions of your customers, you know, but basically nobody had customers on the internet at that time. So
I mean, nobody had computer in the store. This was the first problem, right? I was like, you went into the bakery and asked, "Would you like to have a chatbot?" What, right?
Yeah. I would say I was the technology was so advanced and so ahead of its time, so nobody actually didn't need it.
But even now, I would say, if someone would implement such a thing, it is interesting, but it's hard to believe that it actually worked because it's sophisticated. This is not usual to build such a thing. And by the way, on that note, I also was, I did some first commercial projects back then, and applets were, I think, I don't know what they remember. A few years after applets were absolutely forbidden, and the new cool thing was thin clients, so ultra thin clients, so nothing but HTML. This was the next new thing, and I was in a meeting in a company, and so and the PM or whatever, this was the manager, came in and said, "Okay, we need like a bot. This is like a chatbot, what you did, but there was like virtual sale expert in the corner, like a face." Yeah. And I was supposed to implement that. And I said, okay, and it will speak with the clients. If someone, buys, shoes, it will say, okay, buy a T-shirt as well. This was the idea. And already was
recommender system.
Yeah, exactly. Recommendation system. And they had, already the face, everything was done. The name of the assistant was, I remember, Sarah Porta. This was the name. And I had to implement that. And they say, okay, the problem you have to do is in pure HTML. It's like, yeah, but I mean, this is not. I mean, how? I mean, there is nothing. Yeah? And the cool story is, I said that, but there were other companies, and they said, yeah, we can do this. And I say, how? And they say, yeah, no problem. We are experts. They are web experts, whatever. And at that time, I almost never got a project back then. Because for me, it was something like this impossible. And this was like 1999, before the new economy. Everyone else said, yes, of course, we can do this all the time, right? And they got the contracts. They never worked. And I always said, okay, this might be problematic. If you said back then, it could be problematic. You never got a project, right? You always had to say, yes, of course, we will do it. So this was my first, I rejected to do this because for me, it was not even imaginable, how to start with.
Yes. Yeah.
But if I had your chatbot in Java, maybe I got some ideas at least.
Yeah, it could be combined. Yeah, I remember, and that was, I wanted to automate. I had like a running website for local musicians, and they were sending ads using email form, and we were manually updating it. Mm-hmm. So the thing for me was to how to automatically post these ads, and the way I went, that's when I got into Linux, and I started writing C scripts like CGI.
CGI bin. This was like AWS Lambda right now. It's the same technology, actually. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not, generating HTML from C, and I was actually very close to deploy the first prototype, and then I discovered PHP.
Oh.
It was very easy to do that kind of automation in PHP. And there was even database,
Yeah, but the CGI bin is almost like servlets, right? This was like this. The opposite was Java servlet back then, And funny story, always we lived in a parallel universe. I always was supposed to do this for the company with the recommendation agent, and they asked me about CGI bin. But back then I had no idea about CGI bin. I only knew Java, and I waited until Sun releases the Sun Java web server. So it was the first servlet engine available on the market. It cost, I know right now, $200. I had to buy it from US. So and I waited, and it came out, and I wrote immediately the servlet, and it worked. And I was so lucky. And then I tried to convince the managers to use Java. And it was fairly easy because CGI was supposed to be unsafe, slow, and had some memory issues.
Yes. Unsafe,
yes. And I found that on the internet. So I know all the articles and say, look, so this is problematic. But the next good things are Java servlets, which was actually a good choice because we do a lot with that. But this is okay. And I was a little bit afraid of CGI bin back then, I remember. So for me, it was like, technology from hell. And Java was easier to understand for me.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. So you created a dynamic web page, basically, right? Or with CGI bin, right?
Well, actually, I used PHP for that page. It really published PHP. Yes, but with CGI bin, I was working on that using CGI in C, but close to complete. But as you said, I was also afraid about this possible attacks. But it was.
So this was your first
overflow.
First serverless project, right? Because this was like
yes.
Nice. So that's actually interesting. So you did a lot of early stuff back then. What happened then? Was it during the university time or already your job after the university?
I was doing kind of a web development, like a small project during the university. And after I finished the university, we were lots of in this web development, and actually my wife and I started the e-commerce company. We had some small. We did some projects for a bookstore, and then for sports equipment e-commerce shop. And we got some experience, selling stuff online. Actually, that first website that I created with PHP for local music site was selling one book. So the main money that we earned from the only money that we were hoping that somebody will play some ad. From time to time, there was some music studio that asked to create like a small presentation. That was also some small income. But selling book from a website. So that's how do you do e-commerce. So we saw that as opportunity to commercialize that more. And I specialized this initial website into e-commerce framework.
Of course. So and this is how Amazon started, right? This was the first idea of Amazon then.
Yes.
E-commerce framework with PHP? No. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
We will cut it out, so don't worry. Just kidding. Did it work well? It was, of course. PHP was easy language like JSPs, right?
Yeah. Yes, it worked well. It was very easy to understand and easy to work with, and you could put up together, very quickly whatever you need to change. And I don't know, PHP was more approachable, much easier than a Java web technologies at that time. At least for me, when I looked also at JSPs, but there were a bunch of strange looking tags, and stuff. In PHP, you had just this echo command and print out what you want.
Okay.
While in Java, you had these JSP tags and stuff.
So is not PHP like a template as well? So that you have HTML and embed? Yeah. Okay. Because then this is similar to JSP somehow, right?
Yes, PHP is actually at first it was like a template language only, but it started evolving. And later, with the more and more stuff adding, PHP started looking more like Java and Spring, so those kind of frameworks. And I think at the moment, those are just web development best practices, which you can find in any language, common patterns for application.
And this happened during university time. You had already the e-commerce company, right?
No, that's after. That's after.
Okay.
Yeah. At university time, I heard about all these, I'd say, theoretical concepts and databases and everything, but I started to really understand how to use all those things and how to apply and software design and patterns and stuff when I started working and building real applications. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was the thing that they were talking to us,
Uh-huh. Okay, and after university there was your e-commerce company. What happened then? After the framework was done, the enterprise e-commerce.
We got some very very big client local.
Okay,
it was like one of the biggest this local electronic store, and mainly we were working like for that company. We were a separate company, but they outsourced all the e-commerce things to our company. And actually, we were pioneers in that field here in Serbia. We were the first who created this really big and working online store.
Okay. And then what happened then?
Well, at the same time, I was working in that e-commerce. We were like being an e-commerce provider. Mm-hmm. We did. We had. The big milestone was when we got this hosting. When hosting became cheaper, and we got the cPanel and got some resources from the provider from USA. So we could host the website ourselves and create. We were like running this. Then we got its own dedicated server. Yeah, after 2 or 3 months of running this initial website, it got so slow, So we realized that we have to get a dedicated server, in order to make it run.
Actually,
and that we got in.
There was in Germany a huge company. And they did it with PHP. It was in the Eastern Germany. They had a huge e-commerce Lösung is German solution. And this was, I forgot the name. But we tried to compete with Java with them. Also in one of the early projects. But I forgot the name of the company. This was, do you know about that? Was one of the first, first huge, German companies. This was like everywhere. And everyone, this was like the poster child of, the e-commerce in Germany. And I will have to look it up because they were huge. And I think they used also PHP for the entire e-commerce system. So
Yes, I remember also PHP. Yes, they're like an optimized version of PHP, right? It was like a faster. They had their own tool, I think, for development.
This is Facebook. Facebook does that as well. But what they did, they were huge. That framework, and they had the company was. I have to look it up. I forgot this. This was like the name of the company was like it was something with store or e-commerce. So it was like it was in the name of the company, in the branding already. So I will have to look it up. Interesting. So, and then you said PHP became slow and you get hosting in US. So what happened then? Is this an interesting story here?
But at the same time, just to go a little back, I was doing, this was a kind of for work, At the same time, I also stayed in working and started working at the university because I knew how to manage servers and maintain websites and stuff like that. So I started working also in the lab, teaching at the same time for programming. And I was actually teaching Java. And the evolution of my chatbot at some point, because AI was like my hobby,
Oh, okay.
And it started with this natural language understanding, and at some point, by reading different things, I realized that I have to use neural network in order to make it understand.
There is no other chance. You have to use it in one point of time. Yeah.
Yes, I realized that neural network will solve some problems that I had with the systems and situations. And that's when I start. Actually, for my graduate thesis, I created this like first neural network framework in Java. It was very small, like a library. And actually, it was Neurof, you know. It what became an open source project that I continued through this master studies.
When was it? When you created this the thing?
It was 2004. That was the first version. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I started teaching, I used it for teaching neural networks, and students were liked it because it was easy. You know, it helped them better understand the complex mathematics by using simple Java. And with the collaboration of my students, somebody talked me into putting it as an open source project. I was like, but it is not good enough. It's a lot of work to get done. But at some point, I put it to the SourceForge, and even today it is still there, neurof.sourceforge.net, and it's actually.
You know what I suspect? That they optimized it that much that the AI uploaded itself, you know, without you. They say, now I'm done. Now I'm done. I will open source myself right now.
Yes.
It was SourceForge project.
Yes.
So, how your interests started with AI? You saw a movie, or why you were so fascinated by the entire AI?
It came pretty natural, you know. After a while, coding, writing like a typical computer programs that get some input, save data, load data, perform calculations, stuff like that. I just wanted to do something more advanced, something more interesting, you know. And I don't know. I was always interested into science fiction and AI.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I suspected. A little bit science fiction. This was my suspicion, you know, like robots and stuff. Okay. So the first, what was capable to do in 2004? Your program. So it was like just what you could do with it.
Well, it was a very basic one, but it had some basic neural network algorithms working. It was not very useful in terms that it can solve some problems. Theoretically, it could, but it has not. It was like a educational, you know. And it had a nice user interface in Java with Swing, you know, so you can look at see the network layers and neurons and inspect change settings and stuff like that.
So I mean, already sophisticated. And was it successful somehow? Popular or?
Yes. I mean, immediately when I put it on SourceForge, it became popular, and it is really popular even today. It has I don't know, I think it has like 200 downloads per month. It's not even more I think. At its peak, it had like 3,000 downloads per month, you know, and it has like lots of users from universities around the world that are learning Java and making like a first steps.
But is it like still maintained, or is just, you know, the 2004 version there?
No. The first version of 2004, it was for my graduate thesis, but the first open source version, I think it was 2008.
Okay.
You know? And after that, I made a release on every 6 months or every year.
Okay.
Every year, actually. And that's the project for which I won the Duke's Choice Award. Yeah. At some point, I realized that I need better user interface.
Wait a second, but was it your hobby, or where you became a professor, or what's the deal? Because you had the company, you know, the new e-commerce company, and then as a hobby you created the library, or what's?
Yes, actually that was a part of my work at university, because I was like teaching, and at the same time I had to complete master thesis, and after that PhD thesis. And this what started as this open source project was base for my master thesis and PhD thesis later, and that's how it evolved. So working on this was like a part of this work at the university, studying and doing those projects. And at some point, I realized that I need a better user interface, and that's how I got in touch with the NetBeans.
Okay.
That's how, I remember I started to build better user interface. So because the user interface, it looked nice from the out, but it was so messy inside that I decided, I'm going to do this all over.
Okay. And wait a second.
Framework was good.
What is the name of the project from the beginning? Was always DeepNets or?
No. It was the Neurof. It was the Neurof.
Neurof, okay.
Yes. DeepNets came later. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll come to that. The thing was, I wanted to start the user interface from all over. I took Eclipse because that's what I was using at university. But Eclipse had such a bad support for Swing. You had this window builder plugin, which was pretty difficult to set up to work at that point because of many different.
With 300 plugins, you could achieve everything, with Eclipse.
Yes.
You only had to install
exactly.
between 200 and 300 different plugins with specific version, and it worked.
Yes, specific version.
Specific version.
Exactly. And that's when I said, okay, after losing like 3 hours of trying to install and set it up, I download the NetBeans, and it worked just out of the box. Okay, and that says, okay, I'm doing this with NetBeans, so I'm not going to waste any.
Which version was it? 5 or 6? I suppose.
I think 6.
Yeah, 6 was way better support for. Yeah.
Yes. And I really like the NetBeans, and that's how I found about the NetBeans platform. And I wrote an email and asked Gerchan to come to our university and give us this NetBeans platform training. Yes, and they came, and that's how I learned about NetBeans platform, and a group of my students also learned about it. And that's how I started building UI for the NetBeans, for the Neurof based on NetBeans platform.
And then? So then was refactored, so the Neurof was done, or it's still not done? You're still maintaining this, right?
Well, yes. I didn't make the release last year because of COVID situation, of course.
Yeah, of course. You had to travel a lot, right?
But I do plan to. I'm planning the next release. The thing with at some point, the issue, the good thing with Neurof was it was very readable code, because I was beginner when I was writing it. It was very beginner friendly for its users. When they looked at the code and started using it, doing something, it was very easy to get started with neural networks and make like the first steps without too much mathematics or advanced implementations. But on the other hand, it was very slow. It is single threaded, and it was much slower because it used at first version that was used a lot of boxing and unboxing, of integer or of double values, and that's how I started to dig more into how to optimize Java, how to make code run faster, and the thing is, if I wanted to make it faster, then it will lose its simplicity, lose its readability, So that's the moment when I decided, okay, this is going to stay like educational software. It's primary users for students, who want to, beginners who want to make first step with neural networks, and to do more advanced things. and to commercialize this because the AI suddenly became a thing. It was like 2000, starting from 2000. In 2030, I got this Duke Choice Award for Neurov. It was that's how we got in the whole open source world and this Java world. And around the same time, the company that I was working with this e-commerce got acquired by another big local company, and it was very difficult for us, to find the right balance with the amount of work we needed to support them and make it working, and the price to cover all the costs. And also, so the big company also acquired our e-commerce provider. So we basically sold company to the bigger, and that's how I got focused on the work at university and the new side project with the idea to commercialize the work that I've been doing in AI was the deep nets.
Okay.
So to create commercially supported deep learning library and tool based on experience with I had with Neurov, but then also to make a product and on fit and make it available, professionally supported.
So the deep nets, you have a company around deep nets as well.
Yes.
Very good. So this is an open source product, but I could buy support from you, right? And
yes, it is not. It has open source version, okay, but it has also professional version, which are different. Professional version is much better, but we still are figuring out the way we are going to make them work together. We are going to at some point release it when new features are added. But even open source version works pretty well. I mean, we had some very good feedback from the community, and we are using the open source version to collaborate with other Java developers in order to build some Java standards for AI. For example, we are working on this JSR for visual recognition, and the reference implementation is based on DeepNet's this open source version, community edition.
Actually, great news. And you are now a professor or at the university?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Since when you are professor? So I'm talking with an actual professor. It's not bad. So
yes. Yeah, I'm an associate professor starting in 2018. I think I can become assistant professor in 2013 when I got a PhD.
Very good. So what my suggestion is, because we are talking about for 1 hour, that I would like to have you back as soon as possible, and we cover just deep nets. 1 hour deep nets.
I agree.
So because now we know what's your background, and then we could just cover what we can do with it, and just try from scratch, try to explain what it can do, and if you like, you can also introduce your commercial product. So why not? I mean, this is interesting stuff.
Perfect.
So we could do this. Okay. So then I would say where people can find you. So where they can buy your product first. This is the most important question. So
yes,
I will put it in the show notes as well. But maybe what's the name of the website?
Deepnets.com.
Deepnets.com, and the deepnets at GitHub with 2 T's. Okay, and the GitHub version is probably the open source, right?
Yes.
Okay, and your name is Zoran. Let's see, your last name, Severac?
Shevarac. In my language, it's pronounced Shevarac.
Shevarac, okay. Professor at which university?
University of Belgrade.
Ah, very good. Okay, so
yes,
do you have Twitter?
I have DeepNets at DeepNets and at Z Sevarac. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I put in the show notes. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.